There is a major textual issue in Deuteronomy 32:8. The Masoretic Text says sons of Israel, but older evidence from Qumran points to sons of God.
So we need to test the manuscripts, not assume one tradition is automatically correct.
In the medieval Masoretic Text, the verse says the Most High fixed the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel. But that reading creates a problem, because Israel does not yet function as the source of the nations in this context. The Dead Sea Scroll fragment 4Q, also known as 4Q37, preserves the older Hebrew reading, sons of God. That means the Qumran evidence agrees against the later Masoretic wording in this verse.
This matters because the Qumran manuscript is far older than the medieval Masoretic manuscripts, so this is not a modern guess. It is ancient Hebrew manuscript evidence. The Greek Septuagint also supports this older reading. It renders the phrase as angels of God, which reflects a Hebrew vorlage closer to sons of God than sons of Israel.
This does not mean the Hebrew text says malachim or angels. The Hebrew evidence says sons of God. The Greek translator rendered those divine beings as angels. The context is the Most High dividing the nations and setting their boundaries. Then verse 9 says the Eternal's portion is his people Jacob. That contrast makes far better sense with sons of God.
If the nations are allotted according to the sons of God, then verse 9 explains that Israel is different. Israel is not assigned to another ruler. Israel belongs to the Eternal himself.
The Masoretic reading creates a contextual difficulty. Why would the nations be divided according to the number of the sons of Israel before Israel is even established as a nation? The background appears connected to Genesis 10, where the nations are listed after Babel. The ancient world remembered these nations as divided under heavenly administration. The sons of God reading fits the ancient divine council context. The nations are assigned to lower divine beings, while Israel remains the direct inheritance of the Eternal.
This does not mean the Bible teaches that these beings are equal to the Eternal. The text presents the Most High as the one who divides, rules, and assigns. He is still supreme.
This also explains passages like Psalm 82, where God stands in the divine council and judges the Elohim. These beings are accountable to him, not independent rivals. Later in the same chapter, Deuteronomy 32:17 says Israel sacrificed to demons, not God. That shows the chapter already has a supernatural worldview in view. Deuteronomy 32 has another textual issue in verse 43. The Qumran and Greek traditions preserve references to heavenly beings worshipping, while the Masoretic text is shorter. This matters because it shows Deuteronomy 32 repeatedly contains divine being language and older textual witnesses, so Deuteronomy 32:8 is not isolated. So we should be precise. The evidence strongly supports sons of God in Deuteronomy 32:8. But we should not claim every similar passage was changed unless the manuscript evidence proves it. In Deuteronomy 32:8, the Hebrew evidence does not say melar or melachim, it says bnei Elohim. The angel language comes from the Greek Septuagint translation.
The Septuagint translator likely understood the sons of God as heavenly beings and rendered them as angels.
That is interpretation and translation, not the exact Hebrew wording. The Masoretic reading may reflect a later scribal smoothing. Sons of Israel is less difficult theologically, but it also makes less sense in the immediate context.
In textual criticism, the older and harder reading often deserves serious weight. Here, sons of God is both older in the Hebrew evidence and harder theologically.
When Qumran and the Septuagint point in the same direction, that is powerful evidence. It suggests the Greek translators were working from a Hebrew text similar to the Qumran reading. This changes how we read the passage. The nations were not divided according to Israel. They were allotted under divine beings, while Jacob remained the Eternal's inheritance. This does not diminish the Eternal. It actually magnifies him, because he is the Most High who assigns the nations and keeps Israel as his own portion. This is one case where the Septuagint preserves a reading closer to the older Hebrew evidence than the Masoretic text. That does not mean the LXX is always right, but here it is strongly supported. The Masoretic text is extremely valuable, but it is not automatically original in every variant. Deuteronomy 32:8 is a clear example where older evidence must be considered.
Ancient Jewish tradition connected Deuteronomy 32:8 with Genesis 10, where the nations of the world are listed and traditionally counted as 70 nations. The idea was that the nations were allotted under heavenly rulers or princes, while Israel remained the direct inheritance of the Eternal himself.
Daniel 10 supports this worldview directly by describing spiritual princes over Persia and Greece, while Michael is identified as the prince connected to Israel.
Israel is treated differently in this framework because Israel belongs directly to the Eternal, with Michael functioning as a protector rather than a territorial entity.
The strongest textual conclusion is that Deuteronomy 32:8 originally read Sons of God. The Masoretic reading Sons of Israel appears secondary in this passage. This is why we compare manuscripts. The Dead Sea Scrolls, the Septuagint, and the context together show that Deuteronomy 32:8 is about the nations and the sons of God.